What's up, guys? It's Lord Both here with another video, and we all know that Captain America Brave New World probably isn't going to do that very well. But now it's all just a guessing game of exactly where in the hierarchy of terrible Marvel films is it going to fit. Now, I'm not talking about quality of film. That's a completely different discussion. What I'm talking about is financial disaster. And it looks like we got some new news on that front. This comes to us from comicbookmovie.com. Captain America Brave New World ticket pre-sales ahead of the Marvels, but behind Ant-Man 3. Ticket sales for Marvel Studios' Captain America Brave New World went on sale Friday, and we have an update on how pre-sales have been doing over the weekend. According to box office analyst Luis Fernando, ticket sales are about 1.4 times better than the Marvels and Warner Brothers' recent Joker sequel, and are about on par with the Eternals, but are nowhere near Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which opened on the same weekend in 2023. Considering Ant-Man 3 underperformed and the Marvels and Folie à Deux were noted flops, this doesn't seem like the best start. That said, we are only talking about a few days of pre-sales here, and the movie is still on track for a solid enough $86 million to $95 million debut over the 3-day Valentine's Day President's Day weekend. Now, a couple things to take away from here. First, we're contradicting ourselves a little bit. We're saying it's on par with some of the worst performing Marvel movies, but we're also saying, but it's still early and, it's still on track to do good numbers. No, it's not. You're saying it's early, but those early numbers are on par with the early numbers of other failures. It's not different of any kind. In fact, when you figure in inflation, it's worse considering that Ant-Man 3 and the Eternals were made years ago. So the dollar's even worth less, and it's actually further behind the 8 ball. The second thing here is that I can already see the future with this film. It's releasing over the 3-day Valentine's Day and President's Day weekend, which they're probably also going to include Monday or Friday along with that. So they're going to make this a 4-day stretch weekend, and then they're going to use that huge number that they come up with from 4 days to say, oh, I made this much money over the weekend. Granted, it's double the amount of days as a normal weekend, but hey, don't pay attention to that. Anticipation for Sam Wilson's, Anthony Mackie's, big screen debut as the Sentinel of Liberty does seem to have been somewhat muted, which can probably be attributed to a number of factors, including mixed negative test screenings and underwhelming plot leak details. Those plot leak details being, of course, that the film is just an entire January 6th allegory with Ross as Trump, and saying it included mixed negative test screenings is a very, very kind way to talk about the 3 horrifically received test screenings that caused this movie to be remade about 1.5 times. So altogether, this movie's been filmed like 2.5, 3 times in full, which is why its budget has ballooned to the frickin' moon. Plus, we can't ignore the fact that, for whatever reason, a lot of fans simply haven't embraced Wilson taking up the Captain America mantle from Steve Rogers. Now, the woke lefties of Hollywood will say that whatever reason is racism. People just won't accept Anthony Mackie and Sam Wilson as Captain America because, he's black. Or maybe it has to do with the fact that Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson doesn't really have the charisma of a character to take up the mantle of Captain America. Or maybe it has to do with the fact that it's wild that they're making Sam Wilson Captain America, who is only Captain America in, I believe, the all-new, all-different comics that are only about a decade or so old, while Bucky Barnes took up the mantle of Captain America long before he did, and was literally set up within a redemption arc in the MCU to become Captain America. But that didn't really jive with the DEI policies and woke agenda of Disney and Marvel at the time when they decided to make these decisions in Endgame. The real reason why people aren't that accepting of Sam Wilson as Captain America is because people aren't idiots. They know the current state of modern politics and culture. They know how society, and especially Hollywood society, feels about them and feels about overall society. And this move was predictable. And that's really when the death of a franchise starts to happen. When things become predictable. When you can predict that they're going to make Sam Wilson Captain America because he is the right complexion to fit in with the values of Hollywood society that are making this movie, and they are going to do it regardless of the through plot lines, regardless of the histories of the characters, regardless with how it flows with the natural course of the story. That's the reason why people really reject it. And that, and the reported Trump allegory, which they may or may not be dropping because of the results of, the recent election, and the fact that this thing has a huge budget and it's been filmed so many times, and even then it's probably going to look terrible. All of it just mounts up the factors as to why this movie's going to fail. And according to the numbers, it is going to be a failure. Is it going to be the worst failure of Marvel of all time? According to the tracking, probably not, but there's going to be very little that's worse than it. And they're lucky that stuff came out before it, otherwise it just might be. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you like this video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you watching all of it. We'll talk to you again later.